Actress Jamie-Lynn Sigler rose to fame as the daughter of infamous mob boss Tony Soprano on The Sopranos. But during that time, she struggled with a personal health issue that she kept secret from the public.
That's right. So I recently met up with Jamie-Lynn Sigler, where she opened up about her new partnership, motherhood, and living with multiple sclerosis. All right, Jamie-Lynn, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I think you were probably, 20 years old when you released the information that you had MS, and you were actually starring in The Sopranos at that time. What was it like being who you were at that time, in the forefront of all the ads, all the TV shows, all the commercials, and then have this be dropped on your lap?
Yeah, to receive a diagnosis like that at such a young age and at a time where my career was flourishing and there was a lot going on was a sobering moment, a frightening moment. And, you know, for the reasons that I had at that time, I decided to keep it a secret for, a long time. I think it was out of fear of losing my job, people limiting me, sort of thinking that people would only see that when they saw me. Some 16 years later, when I decided to come public about it, was really focused on how is the world going to accept me when they know this news? How are people going to look at me now that they know that this is what I live with? Which in that moment released me from living in a secret and kind of like this guilt and shame that kind of can come along with harboring something like that. But now, 7 years later, that embarked me on this journey of self-reflection, and now I'm in this place where I've accepted me with this. This is part of my life. RMS is part of my life, and it will be. I teamed with Novartis, and we created this 3-step guide, which you can see at reframingms.com, and the steps are reflect, reframe, reach out. And in the reflection step, it's a lot about sitting with your feelings, sometimes the uncomfortable ones, the grief, the sadness, the fear that can come along with the diagnosis or a life event. And then reframe. So it's, okay, now I've accepted the fact that this is something that I live with. What does this mean? How can I still participate in my life despite however this may physically, emotionally affect me, whatever disability I may have because of this? And then the third step of reaching out. So creating that support system, asking for help, which is so hard for some reason for any of us to do as humans. I don't know why it's so hard for us to ask for help. Which I have found has to become one of the most beautiful human exchanges ever. How severe is it for you? Are there things you can't do that you used to do, or? Yeah, it's definitely affected my gait, which means my walking. There are ways I have to limit myself. There are things that I have to, think about more than anybody else would. How did you have to use other tips that you can give us for pivoting and being able to still be mom and still be out there and do the fun things you want to do while living with RMS? Create your support system. You cannot do this alone. Trust me, I've tried. What about those people who are, finding out for the first time and they're still in the why me, I don't understand phase? What do you do when you're going through those dark times, and how do you, it sounds easy to just say, come out and get around your support system, but how do you bring yourself out of that valley of darkness? Well, that's the first step, and that 3-step guide we're talking about was reflection. You gotta sit with the uncomfortable stuff. You've gotta be honest with yourself. You have to let yourself feel those feelings. It's important to, because that's what lays the foundation for you to be able to ask what you need till you can understand what you're feeling and what your needs are. You now started a new podcast with your old brother, your old co-star on the show. So can you tell us about the podcast? Yeah, Robert Eiler and I have been friends and co-workers for over 20 years. He is like a brother to me. He's my best friend. We have a very unique and special relationship. So yes, we have a podcast together. It's called Not Today, Pal. It's on YMH Network, and it is silly and fun and out there and weird, and he loves to make me uncomfortable, and then you get to witness me react to that. Does it seem like you're really siblings at this point? Oh yeah, I mean my kids call him Uncle Rob. He moved to Austin to be closer to us and for us to do this podcast together. He's somebody that just knows me in a way that not many other people do.
Yeah. Is there anything that surprised you about MS that you thought no one knew or you didn't know at that point?
I think if anything, what MS has surprised me with most is showing me how strong I am and like what the meaning of strength like really is. It's not necessarily physical strength, you know, it's like perseverance, and I'm proud with the way I've been navigating it.
Well, you're giving us all strength, so continue fighting.
Thank you so much. I will.